About blocking. Blocking is one of the most important steps on your project that you can do to make a great finished object. If you've ever been on the project pages on Ravelry looking at some of the objects that have been finished, you'll see some that are lumpy and a little bumpy, maybe they don't fit right or hang properly on the person, perhaps some lace that looks a little scrunched up, and what's happened there is the final object hasn't been blocked. It's the last step, or sometimes an intermediary step before seaming, and it's really, really important. Especially with the selection of wool and spun yarns that we offer here, blocking is a critical step to make sure that your garment lasts long and looks great. Now, one of the things about blocking that can be a little off-putting to some people is the selection of tools that you need, but we can make that really easy for you because we have everything you need right here in the store to get started with blocking. The key beginning is the blocking mats. Blocking mats are really excellent. They're little foam pieces that have these great interlocking edges so you can make any shape you need no matter what you're blocking. And we carry them in a fun selection of bright colors from Diamond's Own. The texture on them as well really helps to hold your projects down. And these ones are about $21.95 and they come with 8 full mats. So you can block almost anything you need, from a long skinny crescent shawl to the back of a big old cardigan. One of the other most important parts of the blocking process is the wool wash that you use in the water. We really love Soak. It's a local Canadian company out of Toronto. They're wonderful, and Deanna just took home a big bottle of the Lacy Soak the other day. They're $16.99 for the big bottles, and they are fantastic value-wise. Next, we have the all-important T-pins. T-pins are a fun little addition to any blocking thing. They help you stretch out the project to the right shape and to hold everybody down so that the blocking goes well and you end up with a regularly shaped final object. One of the last things that you can get to make blocking a lot easier, especially if you do a lot of lace, are the lace blocking wires. It comes as a kit that includes a tape measure and a package of T-pins, and it all comes in for $31, an excellent value, which if you purchase them separately, they'd come out to around $45, and we always have these in stock in the store. Now, you might notice down here that our friend, the Geiger Sleeve from Deanna's Geiger Cardigan, is a little curled up on itself at the moment. And the blocking is going to help relax that and really show off the beautiful stitch definition of arbor and the amazing cables designed by Norah Gaughan. So let's take this guy for its bath in some soak and warm water, and then we'll come back to it in a little bit and we'll show you the rest of how we block. I personally like to do a little bit of folding so that it's a nice small object when you put it in. And then all we do is submerge, and then we're gonna let it sit until all those little air bubbles stop coming out. And that can take between half an hour all the way up to 4 or 5 hours. So don't be afraid to even let your blocking sometimes rest overnight if it's a really airy, fluffy yarn. We'll come back after this guy's finished soaking, and we're gonna show you how to finish your blocking process. After you've let your blocked items soak for a minimum of half an hour up to overnight, what you have to do next is remove that water. First, we remove a little bit of it by pulling the object out of the bath and gently squeezing to remove as much liquid as possible. We never wring or twist our knitting, as that can distort the stitches or in many cases even tear the yarn. After that first couple of squishes are done, we head right over to wrap it up in a little towel that we call burrito style. The larger the project, the bigger the towel you will need. And a really helpful method for removing a little bit of excess water right away is to fold the towel in half around the object. I like to spread mine out till it's nice and slightly flat, and then fold the towel over top to completely cover it. Next, we roll it up like a burrito and press down gently to remove excess moisture. You can do this step also with your feet, but make sure not to put your whole body weight on it at once, or else you'll squish it a little bit flatter than what you want and it might distort your knitwear. Next, what I like to do is unroll it right on top of my blocking surface and kind of flop it on. That way it doesn't get as disturbed as possible. And what happens is you're able to start right into the blocking process a little bit quicker. The next step is by far the most fun. You stretch it out to the final shape of what your object needs to be and pin, 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 pin. I like to start at the top on sweater sleeves and most other objects, and we place the pins in the main areas first, holding out all of the different edges, and then we go back in and fill in all those long places, like the sides of the sleeve, and even along these edges here, with more and more pins until you get a nice straight edge. After you're done all the pinning, the only thing that's left to do is let it dry. Once it's all dried on both sides that you can clearly feel by sliding your hand underneath to feel the underside and the top, that's when your blocking is done and you're ready to go with your object. Blocking is important and it's super, super fun when you get used to it. And with a rinseless wool wash like Silk, it's really easy. So don't be afraid to block. And if you ever need any help or suggestion, give us a call or come in. We're happy to talk about blocking all day long.